This is Carl at National RV Detroit. I'm going to walk you through this 2023 Flagstaff Super Lite travel trailer, model number 27FBIK. Okay, so this is not a floor plan video, it's more of a how-to, so I'm going to show you some of the features and how they work. Okay, so to start off with, you have power stabilizers. You have one switch controls both rear, and there's another switch up front that controls both front. Power awning, actually two power awnings with LED strips. This is a vent for the range hood, so if you're running the fan in the range hood, you want to reach up, and there's two latches there. You want to free them up so the baffle inside flaps freely when you're venting. When you're traveling or in storage, you can shut it, but you have to, when you're venting to the outside, you have to undo those latches. Okay, you have speakers out here. This is a two-burner cooktop, as you can see. All right, this has to be plugged into the LP system. So you have a quick connect right here, and you connect it to the system right there. Okay. All right. You have a refrigerator also. Some power here. Another power awning with LED. Now, this is another rail for the griddle, right? The griddle is sitting right here, if you can see behind it, that's the rack that it sits on. But that hangs right here on the side. You get a hose with it that connects it to the LP system right here. So that's how you connect the griddle to the LP system. And then there's another one here for just a utility table that hangs there. You've got power out, you got TV signal out, and a bracket to hang a TV set if you wanted to. All right, and your front stabilizer switch. This is just in case you wanted to add a solar panel to charge the battery. It's just a kit that you can buy. This one is made by, I'm not sure if this one's made by Go Power. So just keep that in mind, it's just an option. You have two batteries, deep cycle marine batteries. They're wired together so they output 12 volts DC. Now, basically the way they're wired together, the trailer sees it as one battery, double the storage capacity. So that's all we've done with the two batteries, is doubled your storage capacity, because this does invert power, this trailer does, which we'll talk about. So you have two deep cycle marine batteries outputting 12 volts. Power tongue jack with a docking light and up and down, of course, and this little cap there, that's for that's to accept a crank in case it fails for some reason. So you can see right here, this is the particular crank for it. If it was to fail, you just pull that rubber plug, put the crank on there, and crank it manually. You've got two LP tanks full, along with an automatic changeover regulator. Down here, you can see there's the kill switch for the battery. So you can shut the battery off right there if you want. Okay. Docking light here. Alrighty. Now, you get a hitch with this one. So this is a Husky centerline weight distribution hitch with built-in sway control. We'll show you how that works when you pick up. You also get two different reducers to reduce this from 50 amp to 30 amp to 20 amp. This is the 20 amp reducer here. This is the table I told you that hangs on the outside. That's your dump hose. Alright. So there's two ways to get water to the trailer. The most common one is the city water hookup right here. You just hook the hose on there and turn it on and you're all set. If you're boondocking or camping someplace that doesn't have city water, you can pre-fill your fresh water tank here. Use the onboard pump to pump the water. I'll show you where the switch is when we get inside. This is for winterizing. You have to learn about that if you want to do it yourself. And this is a black tank flush. So after you dump your black tank right here, there's the black tank valve. After you dump it, you can leave the valve open, and it's like it says on the sticker, hook the hose of the dump station right on there, turn it on, it'll spray out your black tank, clean off the sensors, that sort of thing. Cable and satellite through here with these two coaxes. Okay, your water heater works on 110 AC. There's a heating element behind here. It also works on LP gas, right? The switches are inside. I'll show you those. The main thing to remember is you never run this without water in it. Right now there is water in it. This is the drain plug / anode rod right there. Hold on, I just stuck myself there. Okay. So that takes an 1:16" 6-point socket with an extension. Remember, never work on the water heater or drain it when it has. First of all, when there's pressure in the system. Second of all, or should be first of all, when it's hot. So you don't work on it when it's hot or when there's pressure in the system. All right. So anyway, keep in mind that most people will drain the water heater between trips if there's going to be any time period, any months between it. Just remember, when you put the plug back in, you refill the water tank. Don't just assume it has water in it. Okay. I'll show you the switches to operate that when we get inside. Your gray valve is here. There's going to be another gray valve in the back, which we'll walk to now. There's the rear, or gray tank number 2 right there. Just a sprayer, shower to hose down kids and dogs and feet and bicycles, whatever you want to clean off. You have a 50 amp power cord, and then it reduces down. We give you this reducer to reduce it down to a 30, and then I showed you the one up front, the little puck that goes down to a 20. You can't run the air conditioners on 20, but you can run everything else. So, alrighty. You can see from this housing here that this is pre-wired for a backup camera. It takes a Furrion backup camera kit if you're interested. We do sell those. You have a ladder here, which makes it easy to inspect the roof. The manufacturer states every 60-90 days you should inspect your roof. You're going to look for cracking or separation at the sealant, or any place else for that matter. You're going to look at for damage to the roofing material or roofing attachments, damage that could be caused by, let's say, low branches or road debris, something like that. You can't see the roof unless you're up there, so you have to inspect the roof. It should be part of your regular maintenance. Okay? Now, this is the power converter here. We'll talk about power first. This is the power converter. So what a power converter does is converts AC to DC power. So, you have regular AC, 110 AC circuit breakers here. So when you're plugged into shore power, this is going to kind of be your service panel here. You see there all circuit breakers are labeled. Then the power is converted to 12 volt DC over here. So you got 12 volt fuses, and they're all labeled. This is also a battery tender, so it'll sense how much energy your batteries have and need, and it'll always, as long as you're plugged in, it's always going to be sending enough amps up there to charge your battery. So it charges your battery and it converts AC to DC power. Now that's power conversion. You can also invert power on this one. Inversion is taking 12 volt DC from the batteries and inverting it to 110 AC. The reason you want to do that, because you can see some of the outlets are inverted. So that means you can run a small AC appliance for a period of time. So depending on how much energy is in your batteries, that sort of thing. But if you had a blender or a coffee pot or something, and it runs on AC power, you can use this inverter to invert the power from the battery. So you just turn it on like that. You probably can't hear it kick on because it kicks on for a minute. When it powers up, then you won't hear it. So now we're inverting power. So if I was to plug, if we weren't plugged into AC power, the shore power was not plugged in, we're just running off of batteries, for example, right now I could plug an AC appliance in there and it would work. You can't run major appliances, you can't run a microwave or anything like that off of it, but you can do small appliances. When you shut it off, you only need to have it on when you're inverting power. So if you're not inverting power, just hold it for a few seconds and shut it down. Okay? Now, this does have solar panel, so we'll come back over here and talk about that. Okay, so let me just have it come around here. Okay, so right now we're gaining 2.8 amps from the sun. You see the sun pointing towards the solar panel. We're gaining 2.8 amps. It's 100% charged, so we've got 121 amp hours, right? And 13.7 volts in the system. I don't know if you can read this or not. but it tells you the voltage of your system, the amp gain right here for the solar panel going into the batteries, amp hours, and the fact that it's totally charged. Now, if it starts flashing FUL and you can't, the button does not work, because the only button you're really going to worry about, generally speaking, is B. It doesn't have two batteries. It considers the two batteries one the way they're wired, so B is what you're going to be pushing, and so keep that in mind. Now, if it's flashing FUL, like I said, and the button doesn't work, well, it's not broke. It's telling you that there's no room for storage in the battery anymore. So what it does is it shuts the solar panel down. Once the amperage drops in the battery, then it'll sense that and it'll go back to this normal mode here, right? So keep that in mind. If there's no room for storage, the solar panel will shut off, and it'll say FUL and flash. So keep that in mind, and it'll start working as soon as the amps drop. Okay, so that's the solar panel. So the solar panel is constantly charging the battery, right? When you're pulling down the road, your tow vehicle's alternator is charging the battery, and then when you're plugged in, your power converter is charging the battery. So 3 different ways the batteries get charged. Okay? Thermostat is just a basic thermostat. I'm not going to go into it. You hit the mode button to select the mode you want, where heating or cooling or fan, whatever, your zones, all that sort of thing. Okay? This is your panel here. Now, right now you can see it's giving you readouts of all the tank levels and the battery and that sort of thing. These lights are on. When it says Wi-Fi booster, it's talking about the Wi-Fi Ranger. The Wi-Fi Ranger is on the roof. It's got an antenna and a router. So what it does is it boosts the signal of public Wi-Fi. So what you'll do is you'll look at, it's sideways here, the sticker's sideways, so you just have to take my word for it. But it says at the top line 1010-8055. So you'll look through all your family's devices in the Wi-Fi area section, and you'll find 1010-8055. You see, that's my Wi-Fi Ranger. So you'll make up a password, so all the devices will log on to it automatically when it's seeking out Wi-Fi, right? Then if you go to the bottom line here, where it says control panel, that is the you type that address into a browser, right, and it'll take you to this address, and then it'll ask you for a password, and it has a temporary password of change me now 8055, and then you'll be able to make up your own password for the Wi-Fi Ranger itself. Once you get onto it, you'll be able to see everything the Wi-Fi Ranger sees. So you'll pick out, let's say, the campground Wi-Fi. If they gave you a password, for example, you put in your password, and then you have the public Wi-Fi you want. Plus, it's got a really good signal booster, so you'll get an excellent signal. So that's what the Wi-Fi Ranger is. Water heater lighted on gas is right here. So turn on the electric is right here. Remember, never run it without water in the tank. To turn your water pump on, right there. Remember, I told you if you don't have city water, you can pre-fill the fresh water tank and then pump the water from the tank when you get it to your destination. You turn the pump on there. And then this has tank heaters. So each holding tank has heating pads on it that extend your camping season. So you can turn that there. This connect is to connect this panel to its app, right? So everything has an app. So matter of fact, it tells you right here where it's at. So, okay. Also, when it comes to an app, this has an app also. All right, the Go Power. They got a great website when it comes to this sort of thing. It'll teach you anything you need to know. This also comes with a tire monitor that you can program all your information into. And I think they're telling me that maybe this is not an app, but I think that might be instructions. Okay? All right. So, theater seats, your dinette bench seat. This turns, let's see, what side is this? This turns like this, like it's supposed to. And you want to travel with it in a down position. So what you do is you'll go over to this red button here, and you'll push it to the right. You'll hear a click. Then you'll collapse it at these hinges. It'll come down and sit right on these cleats right here. You don't want to travel with this in the up position because it can bounce around and break something, you know, break a window or damage something. So keep that in mind, please. Let's see what else we got in here just so I don't miss anything. I think, here we go. This is your tire monitor. In your wheels, directly on the wheel itself, directly across from the valve stem, is a sensor, right? And what you would do is program this to the sensor on each one of your wheels. It'll tell you that the temperature and the pressure. Then you have things like toilet roll holders and towel holders. Those don't come installed because most people pick out what they want. They usually use the stand type. This is for your grill outside, or the griddle outside, remember, to connect to the gas system. This is an inline filter. This is the other half of your outside TV bracket. That's to add another TV outside, that coax. Your spatula, everything you need, okay? Alright, all your literature is in here. Okay? So keep that in mind. These are your remotes. This remote here is for the fireplace. The fireplace is also a space heater, so I gotta talk faster here because I only have a half hour before this starts a new file. So you turn it on basically, and then you can select. That case is the intensity of the fire. You go up and down with the thermostat. Set it where you want. Go like to 70 is good. And it's got a really good fan in it. It'll kick out the heat, so it's a really good space heater. It also has a timer in it so you can set it to turn on, 20 minutes before you get up in the morning or something if you wanted to. So that's their fireplace. The other two remotes, one is for the sound bar here. The sound bar here has FM radio. It has a USB drive right here. It has Bluetooth, so you can use your phone or your tablet with it. It has two speaker zones, A and B. A is inside the trailer, B is outside the trailer. So it does everything you need to do, and then some. Also, there's a button right here for your televator. Televator. Oh, let me get the right button here. There we go. Push the top of it is up there. Like it makes sense, huh? But you have your televator, and you have a remote for your television also. Okay, there you have it. Okay, so you have a microwave, works like any other microwave. I showed you the baffle outside on the range hood vent. Remember I told you to open the baffle to vent to the outside. You hear winding up there. There you go. And then you have a light, of course. I don't know if he's got the gas turned on right now, so we're going to, if it doesn't light, we're just going to talk through it instead of me going and turning it on. But you have three knobs here for the 3 burners. This one to the left is the sparker. You turn it clockwise. And then this is for the oven. So let me see if he's got gas. Yeah. So it's that simple. The oven is a little bit different. There's a pilot light all the way at the bottom in the back. So you take the oven, you go to the picture of the flame, the pilot light, then you'll depress it and keep it depressed. You spark it until you light it down here. Once it lights, you're still holding this in. You'll hold it, keep it depressed for another 10 or 15 seconds to heat up the thermocouple, then you go to temperature. When you shut it off, the flame goes out, so does the pilot light. So you have to relight the pilot light each time you use the oven. You have a light here and an oven light down there. Always travel with this closed, the lid on it closed. The refrigerator is a 12-volt DC refrigerator. So it has a compressor at just 12-volt DC. Let's see what else we have here. Your keys are hanging on the faucet. This is your carbon monoxide LP gas detector right here. It should always be green. If it goes off, you take everybody outside, leave the door open, shut off the appliances, shut off the gas, figure out what's going on. It should always be green. If it's not, get it serviced. Okay, more drawers, and you know, there's all kinds of storage here, of course. Alright, so let me think. What else have we covered in this room? I gotta get moving here. I'm lollygagging. Alright, so let's move to the bathroom. The bathroom, the toilet sits right over a gray, black tank, like always, like all our trailers. Remember, you have to have chemical and water in it before you use it, so when you get to the campsite, you hook up your power and your water. Put a dose of chemical in there, then you'll step on the pedal, let at least a gallon of water flow into the tank, and then you're all set, ready to use it. If you don't do that, that's considered running it dry. It'll smell terrible, super terrible, plus it'll get clogged up, okay? This is a GFCI. There are two of them inside here. Keep in mind that all the plugs in the trailer, including the one on the outside, are wired through a GFCI. So keep that in mind. There is an eco device in this one called a shower miser. This is it right here. Keep in mind that we have literature for all this, plus you can go right to the company's website and look at their product videos too. But this is basically a water recirculator. The idea is when you're heating up the hot water, normally it'll just go down the drain and you'll waste fresh water before it gets hot. What this does, it sends the water around in a loop, right? Send it around in a loop, and it'll go from here to the water pump to the water heater, around and around in a loop. It does not go down the drain. Once it heats up, this will turn a beigeish color. You'll be able to see it plain as day. It'll change color, meaning the water is hot. Then you go to whatever position, and it'll work like a regular shower. So the idea is you don't waste fresh water, especially in areas with droughts, and you don't waste space in your gray tank with perfectly good water either. So this is a shower miser, and it's to save water. Water pump and accessories are down here. Keep in mind, there are also some behind here when it comes to winterizing and that sort of thing. You'll have to educate yourself a bit about that. More TV hookups, backer plate here. You have these emergency escape windows which work like this, and then just grab the tab and pull the screen out in an emergency. Okay. I showed you the inverter switch for the power inverter. The rest of it is are just cabinets and what have you. Here's it. So you have these two drawers that pull out, and then you can access all that stuff I showed you earlier. Also, 4-speed fan. Keep in mind you open the lid and run it, and it's the first 2 speeds you can barely hear it running, but when you get on 4 it really flies. It'll pull your hair straight up. Okay. I think that covers it. I believe so, yes. Okay. So I want to thank you for purchasing your trailer here at National RV Detroit. Please remember what I said about inspecting the roof every 90 days. You want to do that religiously. Most people own a trailer don't do that enough, and you're just protecting your investment. If you keep an eye on that roof, this thing will be dry forever. So keep that in mind. Also, there's no antifreeze in the system. It's all been replaced with fresh water, and the water heater is in camping mode right now, and it has water in it. Never run the water heater without water in the tank, okay? All right, thank you very much.